What's up, guys? Welcome to G Whiskey. I'm Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and every once in a while throw in other whiskey-related content. Today, I've got a list for you guys. It's December. That means I'm doing my end-of-year specials, my wrap-ups, my best of. Already done runners-up to Whiskey of the Year. I've already done Whiskey of the Year, so go check out that video if you haven't. Today, we're going to focus on special edition whiskeys. So I've got a top 5 special editions Whiskey of the Year video for you guys. Should be another fun one. Stick around. All right, so the award season train keeps chugging along. This time it's my top 5 limited edition whiskeys of 2023. This is always a tough list to put together just because there's a lot of whiskeys that I kind of have to sift through that may or may not qualify as like limited edition whiskeys, because there's a lot of whiskeys that come out as batches, and sure, there's a limited number of them, but then there's a next batch that comes along maybe the following year. But then you also have the ones that are like proper one-offs. For example, if I've got a limited edition whiskey, but it's an annual limited edition, sure, it is limited, but it's also annual. It'll come back next year, but that batch might be different from this year. So there's batches to consider, but also, a lot of these limited edition marketing things are just that. It's marketing gimmicks. So these are all like considerations. What I tried to do for this year's video is focus on the ones that really are one-offs. They come and they go, and we won't see them again. Actually, that said, I did include a couple bottles on this list that are not one and done releases, but when we get to those, I'll explain why I included them. With regards to prices, I'm not focusing exclusively on budget whiskeys here. So we've got a variety of price points, nothing too exorbitant, but we will have a little bit of everything. But also, I'm not going to give you stuff that came out like 10 years ago and is literally impossible to find. These are whiskeys that even if they came out like 2021, 2022, they're still around. You still should be able to find them. Now, obviously, with limited edition whiskeys, there's no guarantee, and it will depend on markets, but these aren't like very limited edition. There's no like single cast things. There's no releases where it's like 200-300 bottles. These are all wide international releases, and at least hopefully you'll be able to find some of these close to where you are, but you never know. And yeah, what else? Joke. I didn't put a joke in this intro. I totally forgot. Usually I'll script like some kind of cheesy, corny joke. It doesn't even need to be funny. It's just like a little bit of humor, a little bit of levity. Kind of forgot to do that. So, yeah. What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. Anyway, guys, as usual, I do have a mystery pour in my glass here. This is another limited edition whiskey, but it's one that's not so easy to get. So I relegated it to a mystery pour. It's a fancy one. It's a great whiskey. Stick around till after the list and I'll let you know what that is. And I suppose that's it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into our list. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right, so kicking off our list at number 5, I've got the Talisker Parlay Wilder Seas. This is a new release. It just came out earlier this year. A lot of the proceeds from this bottle apparently are going to go to the Parlay Initiative, which is helping to clean up the seas. So that's nice. This one was finished in cognac casks. We had just under 18,000 bottles released. What I like about this stuff is that it does do its own thing. Now, I don't want to say Talisker bottles are always very samey, but a lot of the profiles are very, very recognizable as Talisker. This one, sure, if you look for it, you can find the Talisker profile in here, but it does seem to do its own thing, and it does seem to stand out from the rest of the line. Our coastal notes are a little bit more ramped up in this one. It's got a beautiful, gentle sweetness. It's young, but it's not too young. We have a generous ABV of 48.6%, which is a nice departure from the regular Talisker ABV, which is 45.8%. So that does help things along. It's a really nice whiskey, and it's one worth picking up. So it comes in at number 5, Talisker Wilder Seas. Coming in at number 4, we've got a bottle that I reviewed pretty recently, and I really liked it. If you're looking for a big, peaty, and fruity blast, this one is for you. This one is the Talisker 9-year-old. It is a limited release. It was matured entirely in Bordeaux red wine casks, and this one is a boatload of fun. This stuff gives us that very big, very recognizable lead jig peat. We also got loads of cask influence. It comes in at 56.8%, so it's not kidding around. This is not like a quiet, subtle, delicate whiskey. This is a very loud whiskey, but it's loud in the best kind of way. I think it was a travel retail exclusive. I'm not sure about that, so don't come at me. It is definitely a limited release, though, and I think stocks might be starting to dry up on this one, so if you're interested in it, you might want to get on top of it sooner rather than later. This is a great one to pick up if you're a fan of stuff like the 10 or the Rioja. I think this is better still than both of those expressions. I don't like it quite as much as the 18, but what this lacks in complexity, it makes up with just being, as I said, very loud, very fun whiskey. Now, I got lucky. I didn't overpay for this. I do know that it happens to be expensive in some markets, but hopefully you can find it for a fair price, and if you do, definitely grab it. Really good stuff. Legend 9 Bordeaux. Next up at number 3, I've got the Killan 8 Sherry Cask. Now, this is an excellent whiskey, but it is also a batch release, and it does come out pretty continuously. The reason I included it here is that this is kind of akin to a Springbank in the sense that they sell out really quickly, and oftentimes when you find them, they're exorbitantly priced. So yeah, I wanted to include it because I don't know when I'll get the chance to ever even buy this again. Like, this is not a Kilholman Loch Gorm type situation where I can look at it and say, that's fine if I skip this one, I can just grab it again next time. I have no idea if I'll ever even come across this bottle again, at least not for a fair price. So because of the scarcity, I did want to include it here. Guys, this is a great whiskey. It gives us that Campbelltown rugged profile. This one is deeply sherried. I really want to try the bourbon. I haven't had a chance yet, but definitely the sherry really impressed me, and one worth picking up. At number 2, we've got a bottle from one of my favorite lines of whiskeys from one of my favorite distilleries ever. This one is the Port Charlotte SC1, and it's part of their Cask Exploration series, which is an incredible series. I've talked many times about the Cask Exploration series on the channel before, and I've never said anything but very good things about them. A lot of these are really incredible whiskeys. What they do is they tinker around with a lot of different cask influences. The SC01 here is matured, among other things, in Sauternes casks. And this is one of the less cask-forward expressions from them. Now, this is not their newest release. The newest release is called the PMC, and that one was matured in wine casks, red wine casks. This one I prefer. The PMC leans a little bit too sweet for me. This is the release just prior to that one, so it's still out there. You still should be able to find it, unlike stuff like the OLC or the MRC, which are getting really tough to find nowadays. So this is one you can pick up. It's not a cheap whiskey, but as far as I'm concerned, worth every penny. Guys, I love this line. And I love this whiskey. So Port Charlotte SC01. All right, so the number 1 spot, my top recommended limited edition release of 2023, goes to the Benroix Peat Smoke Sherry Cask Matured. Now, this is a new release, came out just earlier this year in 2023. It's an 8-year-old, and it's delicious. Now, this is another one where you could say, Jeff, this is not a one and done release. We've seen it before. We're likely to see it again. Yeah, that's true, but it doesn't come out consistently. I think the last one that came out was like 2 years ago. So it does come back every so often. And there's always a bunch of other contrast releases out there that you should check out because it's a cool line. It's kind of like Benroix's experimental range. But yeah, this one isn't just always there for us. Either way, really good whiskey. This is a fully craft presentation. Unlike some other Benroix, which often come in at 43%, sometimes even 40%, this one gives us that nice 46% ABV. It's rich, it's full, it's sherried, it's peaty, it's smoky, it's delicious stuff. This is not my favorite whiskey on this list, if I'm being honest, but because it's so affordable, it is the cheapest whiskey on this list, and because it's so affordable, I think it's the best bang for buck whiskey on the list, which is why it made it to the front. Prices being what they are these days, it's hard to just talk about quality and completely disregard the value aspect of things. This one has both. It's got the quality, it's got great value, it's a pretty new release, so I think it should be around on shelves for a little while, so you don't have to like rush out and buy this one. But definitely if you come across this one, the price will be fair and the whiskey will be delicious. So it comes in at number 1, Benroix Peat Smoke Sherry Cask Finished. All right, that was the list, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, as always, I want to hear from you guys. So what was your favorite limited edition release from 2023? And as per my rules, which were made up on the spot, it doesn't need to be from 2023. It could be from last year or, the year before, but it does need to still be available. So what's a whiskey that's still out there that is a limited run that you want to recommend? Let me know down below. Finally, if you stuck around to find out what my mystery pour is, I've got Hazelburn 13 Oloroso Cask Matured. This one comes in at 50.3%. This is a release from a couple years back. This stuff is really hard to find. If you find it, it's probably going to be expensive, like so many limited edition Springbanks out there. But I wanted to include it anyway because, well, to show off. I'm a fancy boy and I drink fancy whiskey sometimes. So, all right, I guess that's it. I've run out of things to say, so we'll call it a day there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to help out the channel, I do have the Patreon. Otherwise, you can like, comment, subscribe. Of course, that is always appreciated. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments down below. What are your thoughts on my list? Give me your options for limited edition whiskeys of the year. And I guess we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.